everyone, and welcome to the Week 1 recap, Week 2 preview of the 2023-2024 season. As always, I'm joined by Joel Gibson today. I am your commish, a.k.a. Buzzsaw, a.k.a. Champ, a.k.a. Trophy, a.k.a. 1-0 this week, Joel Gibson. All right, with that being said, a couple notes to begin here. Kyle was the only one that experienced the luxury tax this season. Just want everybody to know that. I took his money away. Yeah. We'll get to it. Okay, as always, we'll start with the champs matchup. Mr. Modest takes care of business, number 1 against Jake, number 12. Jake, welcome to the league. I literally had 3 spaces, including my second best player, Booker, sitting the entire week. I didn't cycle. I added a couple different players, but that was behind the games that they actually played, so I didn't get to use them. That being said, there are still some holes at the bottom of the champs lineup. Herder sucks. I have plenty of complaints, but Joel, do you know who I have no complaints about?
Fred VanVleet?
No, Ben Simmons, Joel Gibson. Ben Simmons is going to be like a 777 guy. He's in the casino. He's ripping that cord all the time. He's going to be a 777 guy. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait. Also, Joker's still the number 1 fantasy player, bar none. This man is an absolute phenom. I love that he's on my team.
I mean, anyone would. I speak from experience. He's unbelievable. Tough opening for Jake. Not much he could have done. Eric left him a dumpster fire. And week 1 is just tough. You have one less day. Not all of his pieces are... he's got some good pieces, but going against a champ, you're going to take your lumps week 1.
Absolutely, and it wasn't a bad output by Jake. He did keep it relatively close. There were a couple moments where I was like, am I going to actually have to cycle because of all my injuries? Am I going to have to put up some money? But I think Jake's on a good upward trajectory. It's just going to be a little bit rough for this season, unfortunately. Next matchup is matchup of the week. We have Phil at Joel Gibson. Joel, take it away.
Oh, this one was a tough one. Phil took this one last day of it. Luka really did me in on Friday night with a 49-point game. He had 9 threes, the last one being a banked hook shot over 2 defenders. Just ridiculous. I was in it all the way up until today. All things said, I didn't have Garland, who is arguably my 3rd best player. I like my chances in a full week against Phil, but give Phil his due. He got me this week. I look forward to taking him down next week or next time. Excellent,
Joel was ranked number 2 in this matchup, and Phil was ranked number 4. So big matchup here. Yeah, not a lot to say. Joel tried some finesse towards the end of the matchup, but luckily it just didn't matter. It just didn't matter what he would have done. There were a couple different ways he could have gone with it, but it just didn't matter. Phil put up the right amount of stats in the right areas. A lot of positives going on Joel's team. Duren is sensational. I don't know what to say. In case everybody forgot, I dropped him at the beginning of last season. So every time I see him doing great, especially with Cade, it's a little bit rough, but championships speak volumes. Wow, championships. That is bad. That's a bad start. Next matchup is we have Cody at Matt, number 5 versus number 6. Cody takes care of business, and I also wanted to say, Matt, shout out to you. You wonder why I put you at number 6? It's because you didn't beat number 5. This is why Matt's this low and will be until Jaw comes back. I will have no more complaints about this issue. Cody, Cody, a good young team. And I have him as a top 5 team. I think he's only going to get better as time goes on. Picked up my Kason Wallace that I dropped this week. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me like Duran did. Outside of that, not a whole lot to say. Matt has a good team. He just, without Jaw, it doesn't really come together. You know, he's just very subpar in some of these categories that the ones that he needs to win, he just can't do it on volume without Jaw. Like scoring, like 2 points made, all those things that Jaw's going to add to his team. He needs to be winning those categories, and when he doesn't, Cody ends up winning. That's all, in threes, stuff like that. You know what I mean? All the points categories, if you will. Free throws, all of those.
Yeah, that and, he was in it all the way up until today, and you could really say that Dame Lillard let him down, honestly. The matchup was so close, they tied in threes, and Lillard threw up 6 points and 6 turnovers today. So, yikes. Tough when D'Angelo Russell outperforms him.
Absolutely. That's tough. That whole game was tough for Milwaukee. That was tough to watch. Chris Middleton is a shell of himself, by the way. Let me just say, I watched the game the other night where Chris Middleton actually played, not the one where he sat today because of that knee. He is a shell of himself. Yeah, he did okay. The game was fine. But I'm telling you, off-ball, the cutting, stuff like that, it is not there anymore. You got rid of him at the right time.
We'll see. It's early in the season. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. And John Collins does look okay. He's got 3 double-doubles in 3 games. But anyways, Cody's team got it done. And I'm really jealous he has Sengun.
Yeah, I know. I every time I look at his roster, he has so many young players that I like. I'm just like, well, this sucks. In the future, I'm going to be rooting for Cody's team more than mine once the wheels fall off of my guys. Next matchup we have is the upset of the week. Steven takes care of business, number 11 versus number 7, Kyle. I am deeply concerned about Kyle's team. I am deeply concerned. Yes, he didn't have Beal this week. I did not think that it was going to be a problem to beat Steven. Steven's team overperformed a little bit. Kind of surprised me. Steven made some changes on his roster this week that I think improved his team. I am just in shock and awe at how bad Kyle's team is with the 2 top picks this year. Wemby was good though earlier in the week. I'm just saying right now, big growing pains for Kyle. Big growing pains for Kyle.
It's weird because Kyle's team is we talked in the offseason, he's a win now team, and then he's like built around 2 rookies.
Yeah.
So it's very confusing because I feel like they're going to be performing their best. The rest of his team will have, fallen apart. But good win for Steven. Trae Young, came out the gates firing as he always does. Steven's got some young talent on his team. I do think that we'll see better weeks from Kyle going forward. Beal is a pretty significant part of his team. But good win for Steven.
Yeah, I saw an interesting take on the Lakers just to bring up LeBron for Kyle. I saw an interesting take on SportsCenter that kind of made me stop and think. They're only going to play LeBron every game as much as they have to win the game. If they're not in the game, they're just going to sit LeBron. This is really interesting to me, and I think this might be the first season where you see LeBron 28 minutes a game, 27 minutes a game, stuff like that, where it's just like, oh, this is where he's at in his career. It's not that he's not a dominant force when he plays. It's just they're going to start limiting it because of his age and, stuff like that.
Well, he was supposed to be on a minutes limit, I think 29 minutes, and the other night he played like 35, so, I mean...
Maybe not. Maybe not. Like I said, it's just an interesting little food for thought. Next matchup, Neiman at Doug. Number 9 at number 10. Neiman wins. Nothing really surprising here. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this one. I was looking at it, and I'm just like, nah. It's just like having like a ketchup sandwich or something, It's I don't know what to make of it. I don't think either of these two teams will make the playoffs. I don't know what else to say.
One thing I'll say for Doug is he's facing some fairly significant injuries. I'm surprised he's hanging on to Jaden McDaniels. I don't think there's really a ton of value there, but maybe I'm wrong. But he's got Anthony Simons, who's actually a significant piece to him. He's injured. Jared Allen hasn't played yet. Tyrese Maxey has a flag. Dealt with a hand injury and will be evaluated in coming days. I don't think we've seen... This wasn't Doug's best week. I think this matchup would have been... Or I think these two are closer matched up than this matchup actually shows.
Yeah.
But good week for Neiman. Embiid's still healthy, so he's going to take advantage.
Yeah. And last thing I'll say, yes, one of these teams could make the playoffs. Yes, they could. Doug, yes, but this is the issue with Doug that we're going to have all season that we alluded to in our season preview. Doug is either going to hit and is going to be fantastic, or Doug is going to miss and he's going to falter again this year. And there are a lot of different pieces that are super high-end flyer pieces, which I like. I'm all about taking risks. This is just one of those situations where you're missing a few of them and stuff like that, and you have a down week. That's all I'm going to say. That's my narrative for Doug this year. Either he hits and he's going to shoot to the moon, or he's going to be very ketchup sandwichy for the rest of the year. Last matchup is Adam at CJ. CJ wins, starts out 1-0. Nothing really surprising on this one either. I kind of put these two last because I didn't really have a lot to say. Walker Kessler off to a slow start for Adam. I just want to say that because he did end up trading DeJounte Murray and Bam for Walker Kessler and Levine. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. Slow start for Kessler. We'll see where it goes. Outside of that, good week from CJ. All of his stars were healthy. Except Harden. Yikes. Harden. Not Harden.
Yeah, the Harden piece is a big one. But sounds like Harden's going to start practicing this week, I think. But he got it done. Good week for CJ. He should have taken care of business, and he did.
Yeah, and then last thing I'll say on the Harden thing, how savage that he claimed to have been taking care of his sick mom, and then the NBA's like, no, we're going to investigate just to make sure your mom's sick. Like, what did that entail? Did the NBA send people to his house to make sure his mother's sick? Did they get medical records from his mother to see if she was sick? Like, what is this investigation about? Where they're like, yeah, we don't believe that your mom's sick, dog. Like, you should be playing, practicing. Wild, if you ask me. Absolutely wild.
I don't know. I think he's broken the trust there a couple times.
Maybe. Maybe a couple hamstring injuries where nobody really understands. Trust me, I agree. Investigate the shit out of him. But I'm just saying, the sick mom card is very bold. for him to use, and then the NBA to call the bluff. Like, that's wild to me. Just so wild. That being said, we've got week 2 preview now. As always, we'll start with the champs matchup. I'm going to keep Mr. Modest as power rank number 1, in my opinion. He's going to play at Kyle. Number 11, Kyle, falling from number 7. I hated what I saw from Kyle. I can't emphasize that enough. It's not going to be enough against me this week, even with the injuries. I will drop Josh Richardson if I have to. I will. The most interesting matchup for me is going to be Beal versus Booker. Will they both be back? Will one of them be back? Will neither of them be back? If they are back, how do they play against each other? That's going to be a really interesting dynamic. If I'm Kyle, I got to see more out of Scoot Henderson if I'm going to have any hope at all. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take Modest and Joker and all the others to win this one.
I'm also going to pick you over Kyle. I love picking against Kyle. I do think, like I said, he's going to put up better weeks than he did last week. But he's going against the champ, and, I love shitting on Kyle.
Next matchup is probably the matchup of the week. I have number 6, Matt at Phil. Number 3, Phil is 1-0. Matt's 0-1. The reason why I have this as matchup of the week for 2 weeks in a row for Phil is this is one of those games where Matt could possibly have won if he had Ja. I'm interested to see where they stack up. I think Phil ends up winning this matchup. But in terms of numbers and closeness, it's probably this matchup is matchup of the week. I couldn't find any other ones that were super interesting. But I think Phil takes this one too. And Matt, this is why you're now ranked. You kept 6. You lost and you kept 6, okay? Do not come at me with your rankings because you're going to get your ass beat again this week. And let me tell you, you are falling if you start out 0-2. I am tired of this shit. I threw you a bone by keeping you at 6. Prove me wrong and try to compete with Phil.
Oof. I also am picking against Matthew. Having just got, barely reamed, but I did get reamed by Phil. I'm going to give him props where it's due, and, of course, Luka, and with no Ja, I think that this is going to be a pretty handed win for Phil.
But wait, Matt should be top 5. Okay. Next matchup, we have Joel after a loss in week 1. Number 5, I have Joel Gibson now, falling from 2 to 5. Yikes, got to win that matchup to stay in that top 5, or that top 4. At Neiman also winning. I have him at number 8. Because he won. I think Joel's going to win this. I think he's going to rebound. It is interesting as far as Neiman goes, but I don't think Embiid is going to be enough to beat Joel, unfortunately, especially if Duren somehow outperforms Embiid, which might be possible after that 30-point monster that we saw.
I also am going to pick myself. I think I'm just deeper than Neiman, who is still housing Kevin Porter Jr. for some reason on his IR.
You wait until he comes back. He is going to drop $21 in value. I have full faith in Kevin Porter Jr. Don't let him bully you, Neiman. Don't let him bully you into dropping him. Stick to your guns because he will absolutely put up $21 of value.
I hope that he does it on the Heat because that means your Heat are in for a really, really rough season. That means that both Butler and Hero have, got into a car accident or something.
If Martin and Richardson can't get healthy, we might just sign them because we're lunatics. We're goddamn lunatics, and we might just do it to see. Like, Pat Riley is not above signing him, I'm telling you. if Richardson and Caleb Martin keep getting injured, maybe he gets a chance in Miami. It's really funny that you said that.
But I am gonna pick me. I think my players, most of them should all be on a roster, and I don't know that I feel that way about all of Neiman's players.
I agree. Next matchup is Steven at Adam. Number 7 for Steven. So Kyle and Steven basically just switched spots. At Adam, who is number 8. No, number 9. I apologize. Steven here could really open some eyes. He might be a playoff contender. I started him at 11. If he wins this week against Adam, maybe he's a playoff team. I mean, who knows? I'm going to go ahead and pick Steven here. Ride the hot hand. I know Steven will cycle. I know he wants to win. Adam, slow starts for a couple of his players, but he does still have Greek, right? He's the one with Greek? I think so.
Adam has Greek.
Yes, correct. He does still have Greek. Hopefully they don't play any back. Oh, wait. They played the Sunday, Monday. So is Greek playing Monday?
He's scheduled to.
Excellent. Well, at least you avoided that, Adam. I'm still picking Steven. Let's go, Steven. Go get him.
I'm also going to pick Steven. Just didn't love what I saw from Adam's team this last week. But outside of Zach LaVine, of course, dropping a 50 burger. But, yeah, I'm going to pick Steven.
Yeah. Well, I love Zach LaVine. He was on my championship team last year. Shout out Zach LaVine. Live long and prosper, my friend. But yeah, next matchup, pretty straightforward. Doug at Cody. Doug is still severely injured. Cody's much deeper. Cody and Doug. If I had to pick any of the matchups, I will say this. I think that Doug and Cody are the youngest and have the youngest, most interesting teams, like, combined, in one matchup. Until, like, maybe you and I play each other, or you and Doug, or something like that. But this is going to be interesting to see the youth play each other, the youths, if you will. But I think Cody wins, and I think it's going to be pretty easy.
Yeah, Cody gets Draymond Green back this week, which is a pretty big piece. I'm also picking Cody. Concerned about that Tyrese Maxey injury. If he doesn't play, that's pretty big. And also, if Harden comes back, it decreases some of the value that we saw from Maxey, who was really playing well this week. We still haven't seen Jared Allen play, and Anthony Simons being down. It's just it's a rough time injury wise for Doug to start the season.
Yep, I have Doug at number 10, and I have Cody at number 4, rounding out that top 4. Will be the next matchup, CJ at Jake. Rough start for Jake, playing first the number 1 team, and now the ranked number 2 team in CJ. Whether or not Harden's back, I think CJ takes care of business here. I also think that CJ is just ready to cycle on a bench. He wants to win so badly every game he plays. So I'm going to pick CJ. He's going to get this win.
Yeah, I also am going to pick CJ. He's got a win now team. And like we've said many times, it's just about if he can stay healthy. That said, Christian Wood, has he yet put up a double-double?
I don't.
Nope.
Nope, you got one?
Nope. 0 for 3 thus far.
0 for 3 thus far.
Just want to keep track of that.
Right, because I remember when CJ added him, he was all in the messenger, like, how much did he add him for? What was it? Was it
$5?
$5. He said yes, he would easily pay $5 for a double threat. So 0 for 3.
0 for 3 double-doubles. But you know who looks mighty good is Tillman.
Now you're just
Building over wood.
you're just you're just bullying him at this point. You're just bitter. You're bitter that he took over the number 2 spot, and you're bullying him.
All right, sorry, maybe a little bit.
Okay, well, good luck to everybody this week. Man, I'm just glad to be back. This is good stuff. I have been checking everybody's roster every single day. Every day I am on your ass. Every one of you. I'm telling you, do not try to sneak one by me because I will find it.
If you think that Brandon has better things to do, you're right. But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's not like I had a baby recent. Well, I didn't have the baby. Kelsey had the baby. I am a father to a child that is still 4 months old tomorrow, which is insane. 16 pounds. Just weighed him on Friday. 16 pounds. He is a monster. A monster in the making. But outside of that, I don't have anything else. If anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. Joel, thank you for, doing what we do every week. And good luck next week. You need a win. I'd hate Neiman to play spoiler. That would be rough.
That would be rough.
All right. See you guys.